brothers and sisters, come be a part of a political movement that will rock a nation, a societal revolution of grandiose proportions, an eye-opening, heart-palpitating, consciousness-raising, discourse-elevating, regime-changing political spectacle that will strike this nation to its very root. And you, and you, and you, and you will play a major role. For inside this communal tent is an idea, a spark to start a fire to ignite a movement. Would you like to see it? Would you like to hear it? And you will. But first, I want to tell you the story of a place I recently visited, a land not far from here. It's the story of a place called Mouseland. Now, Mouseland was a place where all the little mice lived and played, were born and died. And they lived their lives much in the same way as you and I do. Why, they even had a parliament. And every 4 years, they'd hold an election. And all the little mice would walk down to the polls and cast their ballots. Why, some of them would even get a ride to the polls. And then they'd get a ride for the next 4 years afterwards, too. Just like you and me. Yes, and every time at election time, they'd head down to the polls, and they'd cast their ballot, and they'd elect a government made up of big, fat, black cats. Now, if you think it's strange that mice should elect a government made up of cats, I would suggest you look at the history of Canada for the last 150 years, and you'll see that they weren't any stupider than you and I are. Now, I've got nothing against the cats. They were good fellows. They conducted their government with dignity. They passed good laws. That is, laws that were good for cats. But laws that were good for cats weren't very good for mice. No, one of the laws said that mouse holes had to be large enough that a cat could get his paw in. Another one said that mice could only run at certain speeds so that a cat could get his breakfast without too much effort. No, all of the laws were good laws for cats, but they were hard on the mice, and life was getting harder and harder. And when the mice couldn't put up with it anymore, they said something had to be done about it. They went en masse to the polls, and they voted the black cats out. They put in the white cats. Now, the white cats had put up a terrific campaign. They said, all that Mouseland needs is more vision. They said, the problem with Mouseland is these round mouse holes we got. Put us in and we'll establish square mouse holes. And they did. And the square mouse holes were twice as big as the round mouse holes, so now a cat could get both his paws in. And life was tougher than ever. And when the mice had had enough of that, they voted the white cats out and put the black cats in again. And then they voted in the white cats and then the black cats. Why, once they even had a government that was made up of half black cats and half white cats. And they called that a coalition. They even had a government that was made up of cats with spots on them. And that was made up of cats who tried to make a sound like a mouse, but ate like a cat. You see, my friends, the trouble wasn't with the color of the cats. The trouble was that they were cats. And as cats, they naturally looked after cats instead of mice. But presently, along came one little mouse who had an idea. My friend, watch out for that little fellow with an idea. And he said to the other mice, he said, fellows, why do we keep electing a government made up of cats? Why don't we elect a government made up of mice? Oh, they said, he's a communist, lock him up. And they put him in jail. But I'll remind you, you can lock up a mouse or a man, but you can't lock up an idea. And I encourage you to get out and vote. Take a friend, take a relative, take a first-time voter, and vote, my friends. Thank you for your time, and I will see you at the polls.
Yeah. On the way back.